Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this fantastic Friday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. And we have a hell of a lot to get into that's taken place just in the past 24 hours. We're going to be breaking it all down in this market update. And if you are new around here and finding yourself on my channel for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button, because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets. And that's exactly our intentions in this video. So we do have a lot to get into. We're going to be starting things off with some little pump news. He seems to have got Solana tattooed on his forehead. A little bit of funny news. And then we're going to be talking and looking and playing a clip of Gary Gensler in front of Congress getting grilled as he typically always does. And he actually reveals when he thinks an Ethereum ETF is coming and the sort of finalization of all that is going to take place. I think some of you may like that. It aligns with the sort of seasonality of markets, the end of summer. Selling may come back in St. Leger's Day. What typically happens after a halvening, whatever you want to call it. And you're in two camps right now. You're in a bull camp or a bear camp, and we're very much still in the bull camp despite this recent pullback. We think things look very healthy. We will be taking a look at the charts towards the end of the video. We're going to be looking at Edward Snowden's tweet, talking and calling out the government for lying in regards to Labour stats. They also lie in regards to a hell of a lot of other things, but specifically Labour stats. And even Jerome Powell in his recent press conference kind of hinted that these Labour stats are overstated. We're going to be looking at where the majority of the labour force comes. It's government, to not leave anybody in suspense. And I think there's a worry right now with an uptick in unemployment. That was probably more so the thing on Friday than the strong non-farm payroll number, because unemployment is directly linked to the stock market. Unemployment at a high, stock market at a low, vice versa. We'll be breaking all that down. Then we're going to be talking about how yesterday was the second largest day ever that people accumulated Ethereum, or the kind of hodler class accumulated Ethereum. This also aligns with what institutions have been doing in regards to exchange traded products relating to crypto, and the fact that they've been buying now continuously throughout this pullback. I think ready for what is to come. We'll take a look at Bitcoin and break everything else down in between. Also talk about PPIs that took place yesterday. So we've got a hell of a lot to get into. Let's get into it all, and let's start things off with Lil Pump. Interesting. So Lil Pump has decided to go ahead and get Solana tattooed on his forehead. Now, I'm unbelievably bullish on Solana. We have a price prediction for Solana, I think, near the $2,000 range. I will be doing a video potentially at the end of this week or next week talking about the Solana phone and helium, because I think there's something really interesting there. But this was something interesting I thought I would share with you guys. What I want to move on to now is Gary Gensler in front of Congress getting asked about the Ethereum ETF and the crypto space more broadly, and actually when he gave a definitive answer in regards to when he thinks, which is unlike Gary Gensler to give a definitive answer on anything when it relates to crypto. He gave a definitive answer in regards to when an Ethereum ETF is coming. This is going to align with seasonality, typically the period that markets do well. And I don't just think you're going to see Ethereum benefit from this. Remember, we knew an Ethereum ETF was coming based on ETH dominance and ETH BTC. You're going to see other altcoins follow in its footsteps. And I think a lot of work is being done in regards to that already. I think, in fact, probably before the end of summer, you might even see applications for other altcoin ETFs, which, of course, the SEC is going after. But the SEC is also going after Coinbase. And Biden has now decided to raise funds for his campaign via Coinbase, which doesn't make a lot of sense because his agency, or an agency under him, the SEC, is suing Coinbase. Anyway, it's a strange world. Certainly when it comes to crypto, it's amplified. Let's dive into this clip. We're going to then move on and talk about what was discussed, and we'll continue with the video.
On other things as well, of course.
Well, let's go back to how you prioritize resources, because instead of staffing resources outside of their remit, which I think that full litany of rules that I just read are outside of your boundaries and outside of your remit, you're also not prioritizing staff, and you're not prioritizing rulemaking for areas that desperately need it. And here I'm talking about setting in place a constructive set of rules of the road for the crypto industry. This is an innovative industry. It's an industry that the United States should be leading on. Yet other jurisdictions and other countries are setting up rules for their ecosystems. Yet what happens here with the SEC and with the CFTC is constant roadblocks and a lack of certainty. And what's happening is that this innovative industry is finding itself increasingly pushed offshore. I don't think that's the result that we want to have here in America. And I certainly think a far better allocation of resources, rather than putting it against the private funds rule or predictive data analytics rule, would be to focus on setting in place rules of the road for innovative markets like this. I want to take, for example, the years-long process that it took to approve Bitcoin's ETF. And that only happened recently. And it happened in the wake of a court finding that your grounds for disapproval was warrantless. And I'm just very puzzled that in light of the most recent court ruling, why we haven't fully approved the issuance of Ether ETFs. Chairman Benham, I'm going to turn to you. Is Ether a commodity? A yes or no answer will do.
Yes.
Chairman Gensler, same question. Is Ether a commodity?
Senator, we actually, as an agency, did approve Ethereum exchange-traded
Only
products.
partially. It's not, the approval is not complete.
Well, we addressed ourselves to the filings in front of us, and we approved it. And
So you're saying that all Ether applications have been approved by the SEC that are pending
the
right now?
Ethereum exchange-traded product of filings that were in front of us from stock exchanges, I think there were 8 or 9 of them, were all jointly approved. Individual issuers still are working through the registration process that's working smoothly, and I would envision sometime over the course of this summer, those are just
That's great
documents.
news. If you're committing to me that those applications will be approved by the end of the summer, I appreciate that. We've got to get this market.
Yeah, we've
place.
already approved, and if I can say just a little bit further, the Ethereum exchange-traded product, we actually last summer had already, based upon a well-regulated market, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange has Ethereum futures contracts that are 3 or 4 years old already. Based upon that well-regulated market, even last summer we had, there were Ethereum exchange-traded products, it was called ETFs, based upon those Ethereum futures last summer. That's already happened.
Well, I take it from your answer then that the applications that are still pending for Ether, this would be very helpful to the marketplace to get this clarified, that you're ready to approve those. You'll get those done this summer, is that what you said?
Again, that's done at a staff level, but it's just disclosure and registration, and those registration statements have to have the proper disclosures and go through before they go what's called effective.
Well,
but we've
Bitcoin
already,
ETF
as a
approval
commission,
was
already
important.
approved the
Ether needs to be
ETP.
approved as well, completely. I'm going to move quickly on.
So summer, or the end of summer, according to Gensler, is very likely for Ethereum ETFs. I think once you see that, you're going to see other altcoin ETFs. There was no grounds for not allowing a Bitcoin one. There was no grounds for not allowing an Ethereum one, and there's no grounds for not allowing more altcoins to essentially have ETFs. You already see ETPs across the world in regards to other altcoins. So it is coming. Let's talk now a little bit about the labor market within the United States, because it's absolutely a crucial part. And the last Friday, or really what set this kind of turbulence in the cryptocurrency market in place, is what took place last Friday with a high non-farm payroll and a uptick in unemployment. Again, the correlation with unemployment is unemployment at a high, markets at a low, and vice versa. So this is from Edward Snowden. Not sure I've ever seen the chairman of the Federal Reserve publicly accuse the White House of cooking the books on employment numbers, but here we are. So this is from Zero Hedge. Great guy to follow, by the way. There it is, pal. There is an argument that payrolls may be a bit overstated. Where's all these jobs coming from? Well, of course, it's the government. It's a scary world when the government is the largest employer. It's very George Orwellian. I am all for small government. I'm all for free markets taking care of things. But that's just my own personal opinion on it. Yellen talking about we're creating jobs at a rapid pace. Indeed they are, certainly from a government point of view. I'd like to find out what if the government is, in terms of employment, are they one of the largest employers? I wonder. Also, on this topic, if Powell doesn't start cutting rates by September and economic data continues to deteriorate, I'm probably moving to hard landing island, where bad news is bad news for the markets versus the recent bad news is good news for the markets, because of this kind of paradigm. We want bad news so that it increases the probability of Fed rate cuts, whereas bad news typically has been bad news. This is what we're potentially looking at. So are we going to see a similar unemployment scenario playing out? And this is the bear case. Now, my take is we are heading towards a shitstorm. It's just not here yet, and that markets are going to rally into that, and that's what we've been seeing thus far, and I think that's going to continue for a little bit longer. To sort of move on to some more interesting news, Ethereum demand has spiked. Buying by permanent holders, so these are people who essentially hold Ethereum, and that's all they do with it, was the second highest on record yesterday. So the second highest day from holders of Ethereum, permanent holders from Ethereum, took place yesterday. The record daily buying was last September on the 11th, and we are just shy of it today. So you can see this is the chart presented. This very much aligns with CoinShares' report. Now, if you look at CoinShares' report, they very much highlight that this is the 5th week of inflows in a row from the exchange-traded products, not just in Bitcoin, but in the altcoin market more generally. What has Bitcoin been doing in this environment? It's been going sideways. I think this is going to be, and certainly lead to a continuation pattern, whether that's in the form of a inverse head and shoulders, which is still technically there, whether it squares up in some sort of a bull pennant, or whether you see that bull flag. I ultimately think we're on that broader trajectory towards $151,000. And also the cryptocurrency markets are heading to, certainly the total two, which is what we're interested in, 3 trillion, 3.8 trillion. So there's a lot of people very bearish on the markets right now. I think when you look at them technically, I don't see it. I think this is a pullback in what is a broader uptrend, not just for crypto, but risk more broadly. I'm not in the higher rates camp, high yields camp, stronger dollar camp. I'm in the opposite camp to that. I think they're going to bring rates down, which of course are going to be led by yields. I think yields have topped, which of course is in turn going to bring the dollar down, which is going to see risk do well, at least for a period likely into a shitstorm. That's my stance on the markets, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, to sort of continue on that, yesterday, we don't want today, we want yesterday, we did have US PPIs. And they actually came in better than expected. Unemployment claims slightly on the rise, though, so a little bit of dampening news there. And of course, we had CPIs and everything earlier on in the week. So it's been a very interesting week. Again, like I say, you're in two camps right now. You're in the bearish camp or the bullish camp. I need to see more when it comes to the markets from a technical point of view to be bearish. Quite frankly, we looked at Total 2, we looked at Bitcoin, even altcoins. If you're capitulating from altcoins, you're literally capitulating, I think, at the worst possible time. But that's just my own opinion. We will see. Time will reveal all. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.